You sound like a beached whale at the brink of orgasm.
The question is, like, how is it how is it about to have an orgasm when it's been beached? You know what's.
That's a good point. Ask all the big white girls how it still has an orgasm when it's beached.
Oh my god.
You know, it's a question for the ages.
They have arms, not flippers though.
Yeah.
Might be a nice.
It
There might
feels
be like
the
a nice
same.
brisk wind going
Yeah.
over across the beach.
Yeah. You know what's weird about whales? Their penises are so big they actually can't control it. So like when it and it's like kind of like tucked inside of them, right?
Yeah.
So when they have like sex, they basically have to have like a orgy over a female in hopes that one of them will get them pregnant. Because their penises are like fucking, I don't know, 9-10 feet long, and it just like whips out, and it just
I see.
sperm and
Blowhole, then the
orgies and shit. Yeah,
Gotcha.
blowholes, yes.
You know, I wonder
Sexy.
if whales actually get that kinky.
I wonder.
They're
Dolphins do.
They're intelligent creatures.
Do you believe dolphins are really that smart? That they're like, yo, man, it's humans right here and then dolphins right here. It's like people act like
They
dolphins
actually, I mean,
are
out
right
of
below
all
us.
the animals, dolphins are the ones
Yeah.
animals that actually will kill for fun.
Right.
Which, I mean, as fucked up as it is, it does seem that might indicate a level of intelligence, or at least a level of understanding.
Or craziness. What?
Yeah, I'm just saying that that's the
Insane motherfuckers.
differentiation.
No, you know what? Get that like insane in that insanely like that hardcore logical like sociopath level like I don't know. I don't watch the series, but Dexter. That's kind of the premise of Dexter.
Yeah. You know, back in like the 70s or 60s or some shit like that, they were doing like mad experiments with dolphins and stuff and LSD or whatever. Basically, a white woman, a perfect white woman, because this is definitely a white one, fucked a dolphin. I swear to fucking God. Look it up on Double Toasted. There's an entire segment
Are we recording
about
now?
it.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we are
are.
recording. Yeah. By the way,
No intro, just right into just sex lives of animals.
Oh, by the way,
sociopathic
my name is
killers.
Sydney,
All right.
and this is John. This is my boy Oliver right here, and this is John's
Yo.
closet. See, I managed to finally do it in the beginning.
Only after Oliver reminded you.
Yeah. See,
just
every
wanted to
time
be
we
clear.
record, I forget to say my name.
Because
I
I
forget
could have
to
said some
plug
even more
everything.
fucked up shit, and
Yeah.
then got under the assumption we hadn't started yet, so I wanted to be sure.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
We should have said nothing. We should have just let you fly. It's like, Oliver would be like, oh, by the way, man.
It's okay.
I
Listen.
tried to fuck a dolphin once.
Like listen, it's okay.
I was just at SeaWorld.
Yeah.
we
It was
can
too hot.
we can cut this out if we need to.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's true.
I mean, I don't
Leave-
know. I don't have any friends that are
Leave,
dolphins.
leave
so
the dolphin and
we're
whale
not
stuff in,
offending
man.
anybody.
It's like that South Park episode, Dolphin and Whale. Damn, I forget the context to it. It was so funny. It was like dolphins and whales were like in planes or some shit like that. I don't know. I
Man.
don't remember. But
Great story.
yeah. Definite great story.
So-
My memory's a little bit bad right now. But anyways, yes.
You know
yes.
what? I bet you I know who fucked that dolphin. It was Sally.
Mm.
Miss Sally
It
in
was
her
probably
gardening
the- it
That
was
podcast.
the same
bitch.
girl who had sex in space. Do you know about that?
Has sex in space?
There was one astronaut who went up. They were married,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
it is presupposed that they did
Actually,
do that.
that'd be pretty baller.
I mean,
I'm
you
not
have
gonna lie.
to do it if you can do it. I mean, if you
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
consenting
Yeah.
partner. You know?
Yeah. Sex in
Yeah.
space. Oh man.
I mean, that's not the 10,000 feet club or whatever. What is it?
Yeah,
Mile
yeah.
High Club.
yeah.
That's like
yeah.
the 1,000-mile high club. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's another tier.
I think also because you're likely orbiting. You're going at 8,000 kilometers an hour anyways, or
Yeah.
like miles per hour.
You have simultaneously beaten the world speed record for sex and the height.
Actually, the world speed record for sex goes to
How
Sydney for
no.
for.
Hey man,
cheap shot.
they don't call me the Minute Man for nothing, man. God damn it. They also call me
That was-
microwave
that
too.
was definitely, that was a pop fly right there.
Well, anyways, how was your
Low hanging fruit.
yeah, low hanging fruit. So it's been only a couple days since we last recorded. So how have you been? How have you been, John? What you been doing for the past couple days?
Let's see. I've just been doing everything that I can to just
Right.
remain to remain as the useless sack of space that I currently am.
Yo, man, you have been a void of space for like this entire like summer. Like you just like as soon as you graduated or whatever, you just pew, nosedived.
Actually, that's kind of a half lie.
Half lie.
Like that was my Tuesday.
Right.
But my Wednesday was actually pretty busy. I went to the gym. And then I went to I went to go to Shane's brother's place.
Right.
And because he wanted a little bit of help with calculus.
Right.
And I was like, well, I can help with calculus.
Right.
Like I'm your guy.
Yeah, get paid.
Calculus is the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
That's good for you, man.
So and then afterwards, I went to band practice, and Shane had.
How's Lucid Lake going? Like,
it's going.
It's going.
We're still kind of trying to identify what our goals are, which is very like, we've been playing together for a while now, and like, I feel like we kind of misstep our priorities, because, like every single one of us we have the ability to play virtually anything.
Right.
Within a week's time, we could probably learn, most, if not any song.
Yeah. You just gotta coordinate just the whole arrangement.
I've had bands where we've talked our way out of being a band.
just talked our way out.
We talk so long, we're just like, we don't.
Damn, nigga, do we even like each other? Like, fuck.
You know what I mean?
I don't even like playing with you, motherfucker.
No, but it's like
less talking, more music is normally better.
Yeah.
Well, because what it is that it's kind of like the idea of like we're a bunch of guys that listen to a lot of different types of music, and so like kind of identifying like, okay, what genres do we want to do?
Right.
What style do we want to go for? Is there a certain image or message that we want to convey?
Right.
Is there something more specific? Because when we write original songs, for me, I just like things that just kind of sound cool.
Right.
And I try to just write things that I like, that I like. I try to write things that I like to listen to. But that being said, I'm someone who pays so much detail to the musical characteristic that the contextual characteristics of the song become lost.
Right.
So it's
get lost in the sauce is what the rappers say.
So they're trying to make the song have a certain feel or aesthetic, and you're just like, is this a correct musically? Is that what you're saying?
Or I guess more so like in a lyrical sense, like when I sit down and write lyrics or something. Like for me, I am so lost in like what I want to write about that I just end up writing nothing.
Oh, you're like, I want to write about this, I want to write about that, and like you just,
or like there's some sort of theme that maybe like I want to explore, but I'm like, oh, but there's so many other things that I could explore.
Yeah.
And then my writing ends up way too vague, and I'm like, this means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I normally do is
blue balls on the situation.
Like the only time I actually really will sit down to write something is when I have like a line. Like if I don't have that, then I won't. Like because I have a lot of ideas, but like then they're just nothing. But like once you have like that thing where you're like, I can verbalize this in a way that I think is pleasing, and then you can just build off of that. I don't know. That's something that I've found. But I feel the same way. You're like, this is a great idea to write about, and then you're like, how do I start? And then you do, and you're like, throw it away, and then 3 hours later you have nothing. So.
Yeah. So we all recently went to your girlfriend's going away little shindig.
Oh yeah.
And what was really really cool about this, any of you millennials, any of you sensitive motherfuckers out there, it was a roasting party. And it was so much fucking fun to just talk shit, and it really warmed my heart because as a person who likes to just roast and make fun of his friends all the time, not out of malice, but out of fun, and
Yeah, all your friends. Perfect honesty is the best way to be.
Yeah, perfect honesty or whatever. It made me very happy just to have everybody get together and doing things that normally you would be punished for, or people are like, I hate throwing this word, but PC for like, oh, you're not supposed to say that, whatever. It was a nice, in the context of the environment, it was fun to do.
Yeah, I had expectations for that night, and it was far exceeded.
There
were people got very creative.
Oh my god, some of the shit that people said was had me fucking dying, dude. It was so funny.
Yeah, I think the best one was that Nishani's friend, who actually had another friend, wrote a letter, like a whole essay.
You have to write this shit. You're like, oh, I'm about to get this
but
motherfucker.
it was I mean, it was on point. It was like something you actually hear. Like it was. It wasn't just like I'm gonna shit talk and maybe make a light joke here. It was like so much, visual and colorful.
Basically
ways of describing how shitty.
Yeah.
This person is in a very
Niggas have been waiting to roast Oliver's girlfriend, and I'm sure that was a surprise to you. Like, these motherfuckers are actually writing out a whole I'm just
I know, I was like,
bar,
check,
bar,
check,
16
check,
bars.
check.
Just
Yeah, no, I had no problem with it whatsoever.
I'm a little bit afraid to have a roast session if I were having a going away thing. Like, motherfuckers might really let me have it. Like,
I feel the same way.
Because I make fun of my friends so much, but like if they had just an open forum just to like flame me, I don't know. My ego might be bruised a little bit.
Yeah, I think I would have to devote a whole day at least.
Yeah, shit. Yeah.
You know what? You should try it, Sydney. You should have like the next podcast special. It should be a roast session for everything that you've said on the podcast.
Oh my god.
And everything that everyone knows about you. Like we'll have it at Nice Guys Pizza or like Rackham's or exactly. Like we'll have it somewhere in a venue and just live podcast roast session of Sydney.
Oh my god. Episode 20, man. What is it?
You have to invite like the really
right
raunchy, like kind of has-been blonde comedians.
Yeah.
Just to say really fucked up dirty jokes for no reason. If you can find some of those, that'd be good.
Oh my god. That sounds great, man.
Oh, and then you also always will need what's his long hair sitcom?
Oh jeez.
The dude with the long curly black hair, and he does radio shows.
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. Yeah, he's
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Brain fart there.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Rod Stewart. I was like, that's not
right. All right, you want to get into some questions, man? Look at this fresh paper right here, man.
I mean, you did a little. It looks like you did research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn right I did.
Yeah, no. Sydney takes advantage of the internet.
For the record, I did tell Sydney, please don't have me on if it sucks. So I'm here. So I mean, at least.
I mean, it's been going pretty good so far. We talk about whales,
I don't
dolphins.
know if that says more for like your lack of people to talk to, or that my poetry's good. So I'm gonna go with the latter.
Don't worry.
All of our
I'll hold your hand to the podcast experience.
I'll warm them up though.
Yeah. Ooh. Thank you.
Okay.
Trifecta. All right.
It's okay if it's in a three-way.
Let's get started with
rhymes
these questions.
Doesn't make it true.
So tell me, so honestly, it's funny when we were at the party on Saturday. You told me that you did poetry or whatever. I was actually pretty surprised that you actually did poetry. Like, no offense, like I didn't think that you did poetry, but like I'm not. But I had no reason to. It's just like it kind of caught me off guard because I didn't think that you wrote.
I can imagine that.
Yeah. So tell me, what was your relationship with poetry before you started writing, and then what caused you to start writing poetry?
It was definitely music. So I would be in bands, and I listened to crappy emo music when I was younger.
Yeah.
And
I think we all did.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
some Linkin Park.
I still listen.
Some Linkin Park was kind of. I was like, all right.
I don't know. I still go for that like guilty pleasure stuff. Like,
I do too.
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, I hate you, Dad. You
still
provide for me.
I still put on Brand New and Taking Back Sunday and
Yeah.
Norma Jean. I still listen to, especially when I'm extremely pissed off. So
yeah.
I still go back to that. But that was the first time when I'd seen, I guess, writing in something that I could relate to, not in regards to the emotional aspect, but that the musicianship of like these super like grimy, like people like bands that I like, people who I knew that were starting screamo bands or whatever.
Right.
They were not only people that I could emotionally relate to, but people I was like were like the same age. So. You know what I mean? Like, from first to last, like Sonny Moore was like 16 or 17 when he played his first show.
Yeah.
So that skinny jeans, sweaty skateboard shit. I was like, okay, if they can write really really good lyrics that make me feel good, then I thought I should at least give it a shot.
So what was the thing that sparked you to start writing?
Well, the first thing I ever wrote was. I've always been an avid reader.
Oh, you're an avid reader, right.
So I like that was I'd already understood a lot. Like I knew that I much.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you're an avid reader. When I was, I read every single one of your poems that you sent me for the link.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, there were so many more that I throw away, but those are the ones that at least. They're allowed to be public.
Right.
They're not
so
good enough
to be public, right.
That I'm embarrassed. At least on most days.
Right.
So. I think actually the first thing that actually got me into writing was the movie Candy. They had a really cool way of moving through the movie that was like this. It started with Heaven, where the movie is so great. I don't know if anybody has ever seen Candy, but it's about these Australian junkies. It opens up on this glorious, perfect life. He's got this gorgeous girlfriend. They got money, they got drugs, and they're extremely in love. And the movie just progressively gets worse. I mean, like it goes from, like Heaven, and then like at the intro, Heaven. Middle of the movie, Earth. And they're kind of like wrestling with like, okay, now we have a life, we got to deal with it, and then it goes to like hell, and it's like now we clearly are not capable of handling our lives. So and I don't know why, but I guess that sparked. Yeah, like I liked how that what's the word? Put into a box these certain emotions, and then I actually totally ripped it off for like the first poem that I wrote, which was like The Black Sun, which I don't think
I don't think it was on there.
Which honestly I still am actually pretty proud of. It's not like as lyrically like perfect, but not everything always is.
So your poetry is like, it's very I noticed it's very like narrative driven, where you like have like a certain theme, like technology, faces, war, etc., even one about whales that I actually really liked.
What is that one?
I have a question about that later. I was like, wow, I kind of think this is dope.
Very reminiscent of the start.
You said earlier about the movie Candy, where it was about love and heroin and other stuff like like is that the movie where you carried that same motif of love throughout all your poems? Like even though you explore a different topic, all of them kind of each one I kind of either you directly related to love or you mention love, or like you can indirectly. Like,
yeah,
okay, this
it's definitely like 90% of the poems that I write are about that. Now I will say that like it's not for lack of trying. It's just that for some reason, maybe it's also because when you feel like you're writing to somebody, you care more about like, or I don't know, or maybe you're maybe more pensive about it. Maybe that you think about it long enough where you actually solidify something that you like, because most of the time when I write about like not another person, whether it be love or something else, it's hard to make it real.
So that's an interesting take. I've never heard of it that way, where each time you write a song, you think about a particular person. Even though, I mean, clearly you're not gonna say the person's name in the poem or the poem or the song lyric, but you think about a particular person to actually like write it all out and for it to be a cohesive thing. Right.
I mean, I think everything needs a muse in a way. I think that the most talented of people can find a way to write without that. But like I guess for me that's and also I will say this, like I think that when you're, at least for me, when I'm most colorful with my writing, or when I at least, because I mean I guess what would more need to be spoken about is how you write like a poem, and I know that I'm not saying that's elementary, but like for me I think it's not about just trying. It's entirely about trying to express an emotion in somebody else. Trying to make somebody else feel how I feel exactly. And if I don't know, I'm pretty good with people. Like I understand at least how I feel. So trying to create enough imagery and enough of a narrative and enough of like a presence within whatever situation it is, to where somebody can be like, while I don't have any idea what you like, why it is that you're using this sort of symbolism, I feel like that, like I feel that feeling. So that's one thing that I really try to do when I write. And most of the time when I'm trying to, if I would ever feel terrible, it was probably because I don't know, got my heart broken, or it was like, or very angry at somebody, or very in love with somebody. So.
See, I like the fact that you have love as the main emotion as opposed to other emotions. Because I feel like other emotions, they have a very like cause and effect type of situation where you can clearly see this is the cause of why I'm angry, this is the effect or whatever, and you can kind of like predict most emotions of how it's going to be. I feel like love is like beyond just a normal emotion, where it's so unpredictable, right? You clearly have a cause, like, all right, I love this person, whatever, but the effect of what you will do is like almost unpredictable, to the sense where like, me reading your poems, it's like so many different themes. I'm like, wow, it kind of makes sense. You could only really do it with love.
But Sydney, the real question is, have you played Yandere Simulator?
Have you heard of Yandere
I
Simulator?
have no idea what that is.
This is,
Okay.
can you please tell what the fuck you've been
so-
having me play for the last?
No. That's
week
that's
or so?
that's a different thing.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I thought you were talking about that.
No. Oliver, how much anime do you watch?
Like more than you would think, but not a lot. Like
So, do you know what a yandere is?
no.
That is the anime waifu that the neckbeards look at
Yeah.
and go, she's batshit crazy,
Right.
but she's waifu for lifu material.
Waifu.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the batshit crazy one in any like love interest sort of
Right,
plot.
she's normally like a little bit older, like wears dark clothing, like speaks kind of like sexy and like raspy, you know?
Yeah.
Right? Is that right?
Hello.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but
So basically, just-
summer.
you actually clicked on one of the ads that you saw on Pornhub. Is that what?
Yeah. Basically, it's always like she's always got big ass titties, always like coming
I
to
mean,
chest already.
they told me
and
I'd
shit.
finish in 5 minutes. I
Yeah,
had to trust it.
You want to play? Click right here.
Right.
So no, but
Can I tell you something? I've never actually fallen for that trap. Cause you always see like the worst shit on like the ads or whatever. None of the time it makes me want to click on it. Cause I'm like, ooh, like, ooh.
I saw the
I don't
best
know.
one the other day. It was like, you'll leave your liberal friend speechless when you make these points.
when you make these. I love how Pornhub. Yeah.
Of, like who they're targeting.
It's like they know you, Oliver. You leave your liberal friends speechless.
Right, like they know. Or the other best one is like it's like this health finding is so cheap and it will it's doctors won't tell you about it and it's always just a picture of apple vinegar.
Apple vinegar? Yeah.
Always.
But
It's
yeah.
like this is some. How did everybody know that this is like some magical qualities to this?
They feel like people
stuff?
are too horny and like distracted to not know that's apple vinegar.
It's not,
They're like,
no,
click
it's not
on
only
it.
on Pornhub. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like this is on
okay.
every any shit.
Okay.
You'll see this. Yep. So,
oh man,
Yeah, that's funny.
see, I love the 4 inches in 4 weeks bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, because I like it a lot because
Yeah.
I'm sure there are enough insecure guides like.
Right.
The reason that company has enough money to pay for that ad space on Pornhub is because there are enough people
Dude.
that click on that ad.
well, no, actually, it's different. It's not that. My friend, very close. I will not name him because what he does or what he did do.
Well, what did he do? Spill the beans.
It's just terrible. But he was one of those people who worked in a web firm that would make these ads.
Oh, okay.
And the point is entirely to drive traffic.
Right.
What you click on if you were to ever click on one of those, it will never be here's a sex pill. It will never be like here's the actual secret that I was going to tell you about with the apple cider vinegar.
Right.
It's normally going to be a survey about politics or something like that. And where you have to give your information, and then that information is used to basically. For example, what they did for the Trump election, or during the election, was that they would basically make these sort of apps that would instantly download to your phone, and you never knew about it. But they would create so basically, what it would do is it wouldn't make an app; it would make an email account in your email that you didn't know you had. So you would get emails in, okay, and they weren't actually being sent to because obviously they can't make you subscribe to something, so they'll basically just make it so that so basically you're getting these emails in, and you're clicking on them, but they're not being sent to your address, they're being sent to somebody else's address. I don't know if this is following, but what they use this to learn to take data. They found out that it was like,
goddamn sex pill. This is some Alex Jones shit. Holy shit. I felt like Alex Jones. Like, if only you were like Robert Lee, like, then they got the sex pills.
They're taking advantage of people.
Turn the frickin' frogs gay.
The emails, they send it to you.
No, but it's all to drive traffic to places where they can get data on mostly. And the reason why the fucked up thing is that the reason why all those things are obviously targeted to people with small cocks and people who are conservative. Yeah. That's right.
Small
can you
cocks
think of anything else? Or overly horny? Like
overly horny. Yeah. Neckbeards. Right.
or people who are easily duped. In regards to the the apple cider.
Amen. I still hold on hope that there one day will be a sex pill right? And then everybody's just walking around with like just 12-inch dicks. Like, am I happy now?
No. Cyanide and Happiness had a little
Cyanide.
short.
Yeah,
It's like a 3-minute video. Just this
Yeah.
animation. This dude. It's called junk email. And he
Right.
literally gets this one junk mail that says, "Be 12 inches in 12 minutes" or something like that. And then all of a sudden you see him like walking around whistling like it's a beautiful day. And you just see this massive, just like very clear
baby
like
fist.
Like hang a coat on it. Or something.
Yeah.
and so he just walks around whistling. There's a bird that comes by that sings with him and like
Right, a little blue
perches
bird on his
itself
shoulder.
onto
On his
the
dick.
That's
Golly.
colorful.
and then it
man.
gets another email that says, I'm a Nigerian prince, and I need your account information. And he's like, then he's like, well, I guess this other thing worked. So,
Yeah.
and then you see him with like loads of money, just like
Yeah.
come flowing.
I think that what's messed up about a lot of those ads, and it says a lot, and I'm not saying, and I'm saying primarily this. I'm not adding anything on, but why is it that there's never like a all these things are normally meant to incite somebody who's a conservative. It'll be like secrets about Hillary Clinton, or like the
Right.
Democratic Party doesn't want you to know this, or like Obama, this is how we know he's not an American. I don't know.
Right.
That's what
Yeah,
I don't you've seen these
right,
ads, right?
right.
There's never anything like talk shit about Donald Trump or like talking shit about like some conservative party.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think that says a lot to the people who they think will click on this. I mean, do you like
mostly, I mean, they could advertise the liberals
old
or whatever. Right?
conservatives are more likely to
How to
not
get your liberal
understand-
girlfriend to start shaving her armpits.
I mean, you can't.
You can't,
There's-
exactly.
there's no
It's
trick
like,
to that.
it's my body.
Right. Yeah, you're not.
Your
now she's
misogyny
liberal
is-
ex-girlfriend, and she still hasn't shaved her armpits.
Stop enforcing your misogyny on me to shave my armpits. It is natural.
Right. But yeah,
not gonna
so
lie,
it's a
not gonna lie. I did meet someone at FGCU, who like, they had spaghetti straps and like
Right.
their arms were up, and I was just
Yeah.
like, you don't shave your armpits, like very
Yeah.
clearly, like you got more than what I've got going on, and
Yeah.
I'm a hairy half Dominican
Yeah.
guy, just
Well, the truth is, it's so
You know.
it's so fucked up that we think that it's wrong for you not to.
No,
like
well-
we
well,
should not think it's so.
No,
you know what I mean?
Well, I was gonna say, that being said,
Right.
my follow up is just like I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. Like, it's up to you.
But you're like, I won't date you though.
no.
I mean, that's the
Is that what
messed
you're
up
trying to
thing.
say?
No.
That's the messed up thing. Like I've told my girlfriend this because I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were about to talk about shaving, but I was just like, I know this is so like obviously she shaves her armpits, but she's like, what if I didn't? And I said, I know
Right.
this is so terrible, but like, I mean, I would be like, a little bit.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, I know that logically it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I mean, obviously, the reason is that we are,
We may see it as like a
modernized white men who can't.
Yeah.
uh,
It's enforcing
we've gotten
their
used to,
superiority.
things.
Look, I don't personally mind that a girl. Look, I only like hot girls with armpit hair. To be honest,
Only hot girls.
to be perfectly honest, if you're a hot girl, I'm like, yeah, like I swear to God, like I seen some girls with armpit hair, I'm like, damn, girl, that kind of hot.
I mean, it's true that if all of the girls like just a concerted effort, just like, hey, we're not doing this anymore. I think we'd all just be like, okay, I guess not. Like,
so-
I can't argue with you. Like, just
Yeah,
you
no,
you
like-
don't have to do that.
I don't mind it on the right girls. Is what I'm trying to say.
So, well, I know that my
like,
kind
who
of
are we to make judgments?
Well,
Yeah,
my rule
orders
of
do whatever you want,
we
man.
have none.
I guess my
Yeah. All the women are just automatically like pressing pause and hashtag. Whoa. We don't care if you don't shave your armpits or whatever. It's
See,
it's whatever.
well,
Do your thing.
Well, I was gonna follow that up with like, I don't expect anyone that I'm in a relationship or anyone that I'm dating
Yeah.
to do anything that I wouldn't do myself.
Right.
That's sort of like
Right.
the
That's fair.
like it.
So she can't get pregnant.
No, never.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a beautiful thing. No children at all. Just-
like you work out, you wouldn't date a girl who doesn't work out.
I think
No, you're saying you wouldn't expect her to work out. If
Yeah,
you wouldn't expect
exactly.
her to work out. Or
like
what?
if I'm someone that doesn't work out,
Right.
then I wouldn't have the expectation of her to work out.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, when I grow my beard, I tell my girlfriend you can grow it out too. That's what I normally do.
She wants to, man.
So,
Mhm.
because there are some guys that like have that sort of like that attitude of like,
right.
Some guys that I guess aren't even like, maybe they don't work out, but their image of like
Right.
what their I guess ideal girl looks like, or that
Right.
they're projecting onto the girl that they're
Right.
dating,
Right.
is like someone who works out, is on top of everything, and have these ridiculous expectations.
Right.
So
I mean, it's like expectations versus standards. I think.
Yeah.
I think most people just have just the standards or whatever. They may not be 100% ideal or realistic, but I don't think anybody's standards are 100% like that, right? But it's okay to have those standards. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, if you're a guy who's like, yo, man, I won't date a girl who, won't shave her armpit hair, you're perfectly entitled to have.
right. Everybody's
that
standards are
standard.
totally up to them. Like, I mean, there's no.
Yeah.
I don't even want to barely comment on it because I think that like a lot of people, what they expect from their partner is entirely up to them. And although I will say this, if you are disappointed,
Yeah.
talk about it or get out, because
Yeah,
there's no reason
right.
if there's just something that
Mhm,
is an
exactly.
impasse for you, then you gotta figure that shit out and not let
Right.
it go. But anyway, that's up to you guys.
We're breaking shit down at John's Closet, man. Hey, you women, listen up. Speaking on shit. Well, anyways, so back to your poetry.
Sure.
Now we had a nice little side
I don't
tangent.
even know. For one, I don't even know how we got on this side.
I don't know.
But
Yeah,
also where
that's the
we-
fun of a
where-
podcast.
where
You can explore a tangent.
Sure.
That's the thing. One thing I don't like about interviews or whatever. You never have fun to just explore like a funny topic. You
Just
kind
go
of
down
have
the
to
rabbit
like.
hole. Yeah.
You can just
Right.
go down a fun rabbit hole. That's
Yeah.
a fun,
I'm
podcast you can
down.
explore.
Mhm.
Rabbit hole.
Yep.
Well, anyways, so how do you? So I was reading as I was reading your poems. Me personally, when I think about love and the people who I love or whatever, I think I have a hard time recognizing people who I love outside of my family. Because of course I love everybody in my family: my dad, my mom, my brothers, my sister, whatever. As far as like just other people, right? My friends, I have a very hard time to admit that I love certain people of my friends who might love me back, right? Though it's not that I don't. It's more like most of my friends I have, I deeply care for and I have a kinship with. For anybody who listens to the podcast, like Sydney doesn't love me. I probably don't. Not because I want to be mean or whatever, but like I just don't have that. Like I just don't feel it, and
Sure.
and I don't like to just throw to throw away that word love just so frivolously if I don't know it.
Sydney, did
No,
you
for sure.
strangle your cat as a kid?
Basically, I lost the ability to love.
No,
What I'm
that's
trying
fine.
to get to, like,
No,
how
I'm
do you
kidding.
know that you personally love this person
Well, here's-
versus like
I-
lusting or
So
you just
your
being
question,
caught
I
up
think,
in
is
that moment?
caught up on a not a correct basis, and I don't mean that, and it's
Right.
okay because I understand that. I mean, when you read some things that I've written, you may think, oh, he must like super love this person, and that's true on some of the
Right.
accounts. But then some of them, it's just like at one certain moment, this person made me think of, because honestly, at the end of the day, when I'm writing poetry, most often it is because I want to create a really, really vivid emotion for somebody else, or like I
Okay.
want to be able to I want to basically be able to make whatever however deep of a feeling into somebody else. And because I think that one of the most powerful emotions that we have is nostalgia, or something that makes us feel like this very, very deep remembrance of maybe a time that we were depressed when we were I don't know. One thing I've noticed is that when I was younger, I definitely felt a shitload more depressed than when I was older.
Right.
Like there was some extra lens and like an extra tint to like my sorrow.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people have the same sort of feeling where like when they just started to really explore all the different emotions that they could feel and follow them, to their conclusions. I'm not, you know what I mean? As far as like, what this makes me feel like and why.
You feel like I might have too much of a fixed idea of what love is?
No. When you presuppose that every single poem that I wrote was about love. It may be about.
Yeah. I probably missed it.
I don't mean to be rude. I'm not saying that you were being you were offensive. I just anyway. Sorry. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, I meant more like there's like a reoccurring things about love. Not every single one of them, but like it's it typically.
No, and that's the thing. I mean, I
Yeah,
think that at the moment, probably when I was like writing that, or like whatever spawned it was like obviously a feeling of adoration. And I'm not saying that this is true for every single one. I'm just saying that there are some of them where it was like like I just had like this vivid
Right.
feeling of like let me think, like about, let's say, unrequited love, like, you know,
Right.
like why am I, you know, why do am I with this person or whatever.
Right.
And so I thought of just a very colorful way to describe something like that.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay.
and you know what, like it probably wasn't like love. It probably was just like, you know, I was infatuated or whatever, and like, well, you know, probably like, you know, things that didn't work out for whatever reason they were. But at the time, I was just trying to you know, express a certain thing, or maybe like even not that. Maybe it was like I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going off too much, but basically, um, for me, what I find most enjoyable about writing poetry is basically for just making a story in a very small thing. I think that was one of the things that really actually also got me into poetry. I was actually in creative writing
Right.
when I was
Right.
at FGCU. I think you might have been in one of my classes when but I don't remember. Anyway, so and it was because I wanted to write stories, but I didn't have
Right.
the patience.
Didn't
I'm
have the
too
patience
young.
to write.
I mean,
Right.
like Haruki Murakami famously said, you know, he actually didn't even write his first novel
Right.
until he was like 45, and it's actually like a thing. Like, you know,
Right.
people just don't have the patience for it.
Right.
So I'll start writing some story that I want to tell, or like some like clever little, like, you know, maybe it might even just be like a chapter, like a premise,
Right.
and then I just start trying to condense it and condense it and condense it and condense it, and I think it's kind of like a diamond. I know this sounds like super way too metaphorical, but for me, that's how I look at it, where I want to say the most beautiful thing I can in this least amount of words.
Right.
And I tell like the biggest story, like a 2-hour movie. I want to put it into a 10-15 line poet.
Yeah. You want to get like just straight to the point, but like highly concentrated.
Right,
and
like that
focused.
moment that you've been waiting for that
Yeah.
hour and a half or 2 hours when you're watching some really, really deep movie.
Yeah.
I want to condense that one climactic moment and put it into a poem, and have it, you know, like, so that you can feel that boom.
Basically the last Godzilla movie. Have you seen Godzilla?
When you talk about the most 2-hour deep movie where you're like, oh my god, like I can't wait for the
Dude.
emotional impact this movie's about to have on me at the end of this, and you
Godzilla.
think of the last Godzilla movie.
Yes, no, because that just triggered me because the new trailer just came out, but I remember the pain of the last movie. Right, it's like a 2-hour movie, right, and I'm waiting for the main nigga who's on the goddamn poster to come through, right, and to do shit. All throughout the movie, you just see his back, you see his legs, you see him like in the distance or whatever. I swear to God, the last 15 minutes of the movie, you actually get to see Godzilla do some cool shit. And then I'm like, well, fuck. This didn't save the movie. It should have been. This should have been like here in like an hour. But I swear to God, 2 hours of the movie, last 15 minutes. Last 15 minutes was the full price. Not full price. It was like a 4 out of 5 stars. The hour and 45 minutes. I'm like, come on.
I think there's a lot of books like that. I think there are a lot of not even books like that, but there are segments in books like that where you're like, I don't need this, but I get it, but I don't need this because I'm, you know, like, so anyway. I guess what I've always been trying to capture is that very important thing that you want to feel, and that you have to. The thing is, to feel something like that, so, you know, you still do need a beginning, middle, and end. You do need a premise, and then you need to follow it through.
Right.
But I guess what I just found myself doing was just trying to condense it, and, like I said, and just make it smaller and smaller and smaller. And the only way to do that and to make it still be entertaining is to write in a very colorful way, and to write either sometimes, like, I don't know, sometimes I rhyme, sometimes I, like, you know, I'll meter out all of my rhymes, and I'll make sure that every single thing fits into the right rhythm, and then sometimes I don't. I'm completely like, you know, maybe just the last word rhymes, maybe nothing rhymes, but regardless, you know, the reason, whatever it is, it's because I'm trying to basically just make the most aesthetically pleasing couple of sentences, and if they're not all meeting that standard, mostly I cut them out or I fix them. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's just kind of the way that I've gone through writing.
I think it's good because one of my more favorite poems, or at least out of them, all of them I read, was one of the shorter ones or whatever. It was Everybody's Got a White Whale.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Basically, everybody's got a white whale. I've got 10 of them, and they disappeared. And I think the last one's like, I'm still trying to find them.
Right.
Right. And I was thinking, like, man, like I really, really like this poem. It's very short. It's very interesting to me because, like, first thing I thought about was Moby Dick. Right. Here's my train of thought. Don't say anything.
No, tell me, because this is really actually useful because I don't tell people this shit.
Right.
So I am curious as to what people think about when they read things.
All right. So I was like, everybody's got a white whale. I got 10 of them, and they all disappeared, and I'm still trying to find them. Right. And then first thing I thought it was Moby Dick. Right. White whale. Right. You've read. You know about Moby Dick. Right. You're trying to fight the white whale or whatever. Right. He's like crazy, obsessed about it. Whatever.
Call me Ahab.
and
Ishmael. Call me
call,
Ishmael.
call me Ishmael. Well, anyways, I thought that the I got 10 of them and I'm still trying to find them or whatever. They disappeared or whatever. I saw it as since he was so obsessed and passionate about the killing the white whale, it kind of fueled his desires and his entire being or whatever. He wanted to conquer it, right? I saw it as like, yo, maybe these 10 of them, maybe these white whales out that people are trying to find that they disappeared. Maybe these are people's desires, their passions, or dreams that they want to do. Hey, I wanted to be a banker over here. Hey, I wanted to be a father with this relationship. Have a kid and have this life, or X, Y, Z. All the things that you wanted to do in life, they're still out there. They disappeared, and you're still trying to find them, but you just can't.
Right.
Find
okay, so
them.
actually it was everybody's got a white whale, but I have 10 and they have all disappeared. I know they are out there.
Yeah.
It was more like, I mean, yeah, and I think that you hit it right. Like, it was just like, there's so many things I want to do in my life.
Right.
It's not just one thing. It's like I could be good at a lot
10
of
different
things.
things. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know where any of them are.
Don't know where any of them are. That's why I liked it. I'm like, wow, this is such a small, concise, like layered. I was like, damn, did this nigga intend this? I'm like, damn, I don't know, for some reason I just really got that poem.
I'm good. I'm good.
When I first read it. Yeah. So I thought it was.
Well, I don't know if you if you want if there's anything you want to comment on, I can have you.
Yeah.
But if you
all
need
nice
to
and
see this,
pulled
or you
up.
can.
Yeah.
I'll leave that over.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well.
Oh shit! Let's not do that. Okay.
Yeah. You keep that.
All right. If you want to.
All right.
So
free.
yeah. When the phone's near. The
that's
stuff, there's
yeah,
a little
so
bit of
static.
interference.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what do you think about you trying to go out and pursuing your desires? I know you know about that.
Oh God.
A lot. Like
no,
having.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Right.
I think probably about a year, maybe 2 years ago, there was a point where I was like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm gonna do, because I had so many different just options.
Right.
Because I was, a year ago I was starting Lucid Lake. Let's see. So there was the band, then there was finishing grad school, then deciding whether or not I wanted to do a small sort of automated business kind of idea, something that requires no more than 10 hours a week of work, but still put out a very replicable a replicable product that would be very automatable. So offering an online course or something.
Right.
And I was like, well, I want to work on this online course, and then when I get my master's, I can publish it and be like, I have a master's, you can trust me.
Just thumbs up. Yeah.
Here's the thumbs up. Here's good content.
Yeah.
And then but then I was also teaching, kind of part time at FGCU, and then I had all these things on my plate.
Right.
And by the time that I actually graduated, my whole basically doing nothing for 3 months was all burnout.
Yeah.
And all those I guess goals that ridiculous, just those white whales, so to speak.
Yeah, the white whale. Yeah.
They were mostly near misses, just because of the fact that
your harpooning skills wasn't very good.
or pretty much.
Yeah.
It's not unique to feel like that.
So.
Yeah, I think look. I think it's perfectly natural for people to have white whales.
I think when you're
how
young,
many you have.
When you're young, especially when you guys are intellectual people, you're smart, and I'm sure you had a good upbringing where people were telling you pursue what you want to do, and I think that's obviously what you want to do with your kids. Especially for me, it wasn't tempered. It was I was like, hey, do what you want to do, and so up until I was probably 17, I was entirely sure that I was going to be a rock star, and that I would be making millions of dollars somehow writing music. And I was a mediocre guitar player at best.
Right.
Had no voice. I mean, I could write. That was it, and that doesn't pay the bills. So, and barely. So, so what I'm trying to say. So you think that and then life starts slowly hitting you. Not fast enough, ever. It's just this slow creep of maybe I'm not gonna be that thing that I know that I thought I was gonna be, and so maybe I'm gonna have to work for a living, at least for a little bit. You know what I mean? You actually maybe I'm actually have to try, so that's definitely something that I've extremely had in my life where you realize that potential only gets you so far.
Mm-hmm.
And you really actually have to put your butt.
Yeah. When you actually have to kill the white whale and actually like, oh, this nigga is
gotta
motherfucking
chase it down.
huge. I gotta chase it down.
You gotta track it.
Track it. And it's in a big ass ocean. It's only gonna come up every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you gotta get like a hot female white whale to just lure it out.
All right, we're not moving into whale dicks. So we're not going back. We were there once.
It's funny. Yeah. Because you said beach whale earlier. Oh, best believe you're gonna get into some whale shit. Some white whales.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I didn't read any of Oliver's poems before. Before this. So Sydney's the one that has all the all the.
Well, that's okay. I mean, like later, I can read through like a couple and I can explain. I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
You know how like what I was thinking, and I guess I am actually very curious. Like, does my perception of what I think I'm portraying, is it actually being perceived correctly, or are people feeling nothing, or are they like do they get it? You know.
Yeah. Do you feel like you leave most of your poems open-ended? Because I feel like you don't. I feel like you give enough information that you can kind of tell what you're talking about.
Some of them I definitely leave open-ended, and but I think I add enough to where like there's one.
It's no like Inception with the spinning top in the end. Like, is it still spinning or is it not?
No, but there's like some that like I definitely like here's one.
Can you still hear Oliver through your mic or through your headphones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I'll read one that definitely is very open-ended. Actually, I mean sort of, but I guess what I mean is that you can add your own ideas into this, and I don't just mean like pick a person. I mean like you can add whatever you mean, but it still is direct into what it's trying to communicate. When the sunlight is choking me out, I'm a flower with bright ideas. I can sleep my roots deep, lying in the cold loam, with all the water I need. But I have no place to go, not a place to be. Even all the words I know, all the clever turns of phrase, none could ever save me. So to me, that was like about, I do have a way with words. I do also understand, a good, diction and how to understand people. But I live in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah.
Shout
out to Fort Myers.
My opportunities are, bleak if in I guess so you're a gorgeous flower. You have everything you actually could, and nothing you can do other than something literally, or you finding a way to move, or make your own situation is going to actually change it. But that's different for everybody. However, if somebody feels stuck in any situation, it could be translated there, but it still remains the same that. You have all this potential, and
I think,
so
what
stuck.
was it?
That kind of reminds me of I think there was a I think it was by I think Kendrick Lamar. I think it was a song by Kendrick Lamar. He was doing like some like a monologue or whatever during a song. But basically, he was saying that like everybody is amazed that the flower was able to grow in between the concrete, but they don't see all the struggle and all the
how much it took to get
how much it took just to become a flower.
Just
in
a little
concrete.
weed, right? Yeah,
right. When it's not in its natural environment.
Right.
You know?
that's I like that. That's good.
I initially kind of my almost go to like if I had to come up with like I'm gonna say like a cliche phrase to compare it to like analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis.
What does that mean?
That means when you have too much information or when you have too many opportunities or something, you just end up doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of going back to what was it, white whale, right?
Yeah.
Sort of similar vibe, but
Yeah, that's why Chipotle is so successful. You don't have a lot of options. Burrito or bowl.
That's why all Spanish food.
Yeah, that's why Spanish food is popular.
Meat, tortilla,
rice,
or cheese.
Beans, cheese.
Maybe a little lettuce.
Yeah. Limited options, dog. That's the
Do you
entire
want it
culture
crunchy
of
or
food.
soft, sir?
Crunchy.
That's it.
There's some shit to it, man.
2 options.
When I go to Moe's, I don't like to go to Moe's. I'm like, damn, I got too many options.
No, there's some real shit behind that.
Yeah.
There's a book out there. It's freely available too because it's just like a PDF online.
Yeah.
And it's called Propaganda, by I think the dude's name is Edward Bernays.
Okay.
And I heard about this book back in high school because we had this. I'm gonna say eccentric history teacher
Right.
that kind of brought it up, and this guy, what he brings up is sort of like, and this book was written in the 20s, but it was amazing just how much still related.
Right.
It's like, you know, when you go to the store, right, your options are actually very limited.
Right.
We have the illusion of options because if we actually had the full magnitude of whatever options that we had, we'd be way too overwhelmed.
Right.
So if we limit our options down to like 4 or 5 things that you could focus on, it becomes much easier to make that decision. You know, and like I was just thinking, like any retail store, there's always, do you want the traditional like trademark brand at full price, or do you want the store brand that they provide as the backup or whatever, the cheaper one?
Yeah.
You know, where I'm like, you're pretty much limited to those 2 options for anything.
Right.
What's fucked up is I'll pay the extra 20 cents just so it isn't from Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart. We're at Walmart.
No, but like, you know, like when it comes to like I don't know, fucking let's talk about, I don't know, fucking cereal, I guess. Walking down and getting some cereal because I'm hungry right now.
I think said Syria. I was like, whoa! I was like, God damn, that took a left turn.
We talk about
we're not getting that
talk
real.
about Syria. I was like, shit. All right,
no.
Let's do it. John's closet talking about Syria. We're gonna solve this Syria problem. Cereal. Okay. Yes.
You know, just walking down the
Razor
cereal aisle.
and
You
Honey
know,
Oats.
there are probably like 4 or 5 really big, I guess brands, or like just walking through the grocery store. There are 6 companies I think that control most of the brands in the grocery store.
Stay woke, right?
Like it's pretty nuts how big the network.
You say pretty nuts?
Yeah.
You fucking asshole. But continue.
No, it's
You're talking about cereal, right?
Yeah, no.
cereal,
Post, Kellogg's, General Mills. That's like it.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, you know, just how much that relates. And then he also touched on this because I only read a little bit of it before, like, never touching it again.
Right.
So, and this was years ago. So, but then there's another thing that he brought up about people wanting to be part of a community of some sort, being a member of something.
Right.
You know, and it's a very like, it's a very interesting, like, you want to eat, like, everyone identifies with something. Everyone has this sort of like identity that they follow. And so, you know, people that listen to John's Closet are closet warriors.
Closet warriors. You know, I
in
like,
reference to last episode.
It's funny. It's funny you say people feel like they're members of something. I was reading this one book and they were talking about this experiment that they did, where basically they had basically you can, in your brain or whatever, you can feel other people's pain, right, without actually experiencing it. The best way you can see that when you watch a movie, whatever. Even though you're not, you know, losing your kid, you feel the same pain of losing your kid because you have empathy. You can feel that emotion, and it actually, if you look inside your brain, that the pain receptor will.
Unless you're Sydney and can't love your friends.
I can't love my friends besides me, which I lack any emotion or whatever. Right? So they did an experiment where they had like 5 hands or whatever, right? And they had, you know, one hand goes in the middle and it just gets stabbed or whatever. It's like, and then the pain receptor goes off, whatever, right? The next thing they did was they put labels on all the hands or whatever, right? They put Christian, atheist, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, etc. or whatever, right? And whatever person who felt like they're a part of that community or whatever,
they feel more pain.
It's a very they feel more pain. That's versus
insane.
The other ones. It's a very totally insider versus outsider perspective. If
you know what the weird thing is though?
Right.
Look at also, I don't know if they would look at this, but like imagine like an atheist or like you know, like let's say a devout Muslim.
Right.
They may also not only not feel the pain for a Christian, but have pleasure in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Did they look into that? Or?
No. They're besides specifically looking at pain, and they were saying that even the smallest connection.
And I'm sorry, I mean devout Muslim, as in somebody who is over and
fundamentalist.
Who went above and beyond in their Sunday school class.
Sunday school class. But yeah, like it only took like a small amount of you feeling belong to a certain. Like membership or whatever. Like you could be a Christian who never reads the Bible or doesn't even go to Sunday school, but if you even remotely identify as Christian or an atheist or whatever, you would feel the pain for that Christian and feel less pain
That's weird.
And
And when
you're
actually when you were telling me that, I was even imagining,
Yeah.
you know, what I would think, and it's fucked up. I can even initially I even imagined that I
Yeah.
would feel more pain if it said Christian. Now I'm not a Christian
Yeah,
whatsoever.
yeah,
I actually like devoutly
Yeah.
anti-theist, like
Yeah.
you know, but
Well,
I
what was
think that
Bill's
it's,
group called again?
oh my god.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Shout out to Bill.
all right. I guess like okay, so
Yeah.
now this has nothing to do with Christianity or the
Right.
Bible whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
despite the
Drop
title.
them bars.
It is. He started a group for his friends for gather, you know, to get to gather and hang out.
Yeah.
Was called Bible discussion and study meetings,
Right.
or BDSM. And he also spent what appears to be like, at least like a day on the logos, because there wasn't
Right.
just one. And
Yeah,
they look like it could be on like a yard for like a presidential election. Like they were that quality of like, you know,
Yeah,
somebody
some time and effort.
And he had like 5 different
Yeah.
options. Made a vote.
Oh, what was it? Bolshevik Democratic Socialist Movement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Join
God.
everybody. Join the BDSM community. Whatever, we're a rich community.
Absolutely.
Bible. The
So,
you know,
Bible
but anyway,
discussion,
yeah.
whatever
So
the fuck.
yeah, I am extremely anti, like you know, religion.
Have you always been like that? Like that?
No, I mean up until I think actually the first time I had always had questions when I was growing
Right.
up. You know, like, and I went to a youth group, and I don't think it helped that I went to a Presbyterian youth group, and I'll explain why maybe later or something.
Right.
But and I went there just to hang out actually
Right.
after a while. But I still grew up. I was brought up Catholic. I had to go to my first communion. After
Right.
that, I stopped going. Because I wasn't interested, but I don't think that would have mattered to my parents. I think my parents were just going through a divorce and didn't give a shit
Right.
after a while, because like I didn't
Right.
want to go and they
Yeah.
probably didn't want to take me. So all right. So anyway, like, I just started, you know, just doubting and you know, like asking questions or whatever, and it really didn't make sense. But you still have that innate fear. I don't know if either of you were brought up Christian, but
Right.
you grow up with this fear of like, what if I'm wrong?
Right. What if
And
you're
it's so
wrong?
fucked up, because that's not even like when you now you know, I've really obviously you know, I'm 24, almost 25. I've very much delved into this subject and you know, weighed all the options, and it's such a fucked up thing that I even felt like that for so long, that I
Right.
could be wrong, as if like there is this person who may okay, I guess that, you know, one of the most famous things was Pascal's wager in regards to what do you lose from saying that you know, from accepting Jesus.
Right.
You lose nothing. You could
Right.
gain everything.
Right.
If you say you don't, you run the risk of winning nothing and
Right.
losing everything.
Right.
So but I think that that's just the most fucked up thing in the world. For
Right.
one, what God wants somebody who believes in him out of cowardice?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's I don't know. I mean, I would imagine. Also, what God gives a fuck?
Yeah. It's like what?
You know, have you ever driven down the road and looked up at the sky and just realized that you're driving on a ball
Right.
in the middle of the universe?
Right.
You know, I mean, like, we're such a, you know, the fact that there would be
Yeah.
this guy who
Yeah.
actually cares that, you know, or no, I mean, even, or you get farther down into it of like, what are you accepting when you accept Pascal's wager?
Yeah.
You're accepting that self-sacrifice is a
Right.
thing?
Right.
What is this? You know what I mean? And but I think I still had that fear up until I was probably like 14, 15. And you know what I mean? So
Right.
and maybe even later, you know, you still have those tinges of like, oh, you know, like, well, what and now I have this resolved now, but you know, if I will say this, if I am ever dying, and I do say that, it's not me.
Right.
If I ever do agree that or pray, it's for out of fear, you know, it's out of it's out of fear,
right?
And
It's like, fuck
I
it,
think that that's
yeah.
most people, whether they want to agree with it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm pretty familiar with the Bible because you know, I used to be heavily Christian back in high school. But I'll say this one thing before we go on to something else. You mentioned that like people out of fear that they'll like go to God or whatever. Like, you know, typically people in the army or in the military in the war or whatever, like they'll like on their deathbed or, you know, when they're just about to just get hit by that fucking missile that's coming directly at them, whatever. There's actually a story where when Jesus was on the cross, there was 2 other people on the, you know, who were also being crucified or whatever. There was a thief who recognized that he was God, he was Jesus or whatever, and he like just pledged them like, look, man, I really fucked up in life. I did horrible things. Like, I acknowledge you as God. Like, can I be with you in heaven? And Jesus was like, yeah, for sure. Like, so it's like that common narrative. It may seem like a cliche cop out or whatever, but in the context of Christianity or whatever, it actually has worked, right? If you believe in all the belief of Christianity in the context of Christianity, you going to God, if you're sincere, if you actually believe in your deathbed, it should technically get you into heaven.
Right, but who said that you needed to? When did I subscribe to the idea that I had some that I was as has been famously put by Christopher Hitchens and Hosier, that I was born sick?
Right.
Who said so?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for one, we are regular. You know, we're people. How do you learn something? You have to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
To be, for one, feel guilty because you express yourself in a way that wasn't socially acceptable. And I'm not. This is not at all a negation for people who are overtly rude or cruel or anything like that.
Right.
This is we are people. We fuck up.
Right.
You should never have to feel guilty about that.
Right.
I think that just as far as being a human being, unless of course you are a sociopath or something like that. That you don't subscribe to feeling bad about these things, but for every person who wants to be a part of the human condition, you're gonna make these mistakes. You shouldn't and just feeling, I think personally, when I do something wrong, I feel bad about it. I don't need also to be worried about my eternal soul or feel like I have to give up my soul.
Yeah,
to
it's like
else
it's more suffering on
on
top of like you already feeling bad for your mistake.
There's just no need. But anyway, I mean, when you even take that further, it's also like, you're saying, if yes, of course, that obviously on their deathbed, as if me making a prayer, getting my last rite, dying on the battlefield, will somehow get me into heaven.
Right.
Like why is it that that's necessary? Why is it that that's the thing? Why is it accepting that this all-knowing, all-powerful, intelligent, amazing God that they say that is obviously presupposed would actually would this is the way that you have to fix the world.
Right.
It's not like make some new technology or maybe it's fine as it is, or maybe the world is just what it is. Why is it that we also need to? I have to sacrifice my own son, or sacrifice an actual human being.
Right.
I mean, it's barbaric. This is primitive shit of
man sacrifices.
We went from sacrificing goats and cows, and now we're sacrificing humans, and we still believe this shit. I mean, a grand scale. And I don't honestly know your affiliations. I don't mean this really. I just anyway, that's my thoughts on Christianity. I think it's preposterous, and I don't want to have much time with it.
So has your religious upbringings or your religion did that have a heavy influence on your poetry or whatever, and the things that you write? That I wasn't maybe aware of, because I didn't think when I was reading, I'm like, okay, religion is that heavy. Like, did some of or maybe some of the poetry that maybe you didn't post was about.
There's definitely allusions to it.
Right.
I think that one of the I think that one of the most important things is that there's an absence of it. I don't discuss God, and if I do, it's in more of a what's the word? A fictional way.
Fictional. Okay.
So, and I think that I don't know, for some reason Christian people. I played soccer today, for example, and we met 4 people who wanted to play with us.
Right.
And they came up and they were super nice people and whatever.
Right.
And then he said, "Can we pray?"
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I was just like, "No. Like,
right.
Can I just play soccer? Like, why don't you don't need to pray? Like, you can tell me good luck. Have a good game. And if you want to pray by yourself, that's fine. But I just met you.
Right.
For one, it's almost like coming up to somebody, not knowing them, and just start talking shit about Trump.
Right.
Whether or not you agree or disagree,
right.
Like, you don't need to know. I don't want to tell you. That's just not appropriate. So, I think that. A lot of people like to intertwine their religion into their art, and I don't think, and that's fine, whatever. But just don't put on me. That's all.
What was it? I think. So 2 things. Number one, when we used to go to live art,
right?
They did this on occasion, like it was like every Monday night.
Right.
And what one of the guys would do, one of the guys that ran the place, was just a warehouse out in the middle of nowhere where they just all jammed out, big jam session. And literally there'd be like 20, 30 people, and they'd get together in a circle in Ohm,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Some weird ass hippie shit.
Right.
Oh my
So-
fucking
And
god.
I think the fucked up thing is, I don't know if you were there, but like for one personally, I didn't want to pray with this person. I'm sure a lot of people don't want to own,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you
Yeah.
feel like you're being
Yeah.
offensive if you don't.
Yeah.
And I don't make me feel like that.
Yeah.
I didn't ask. I didn't come here to own. I came here to play music.
Yeah.
Like I didn't come here to pray. I came here to play
Fair.
soccer.
Yeah.
Just
And
know,
you
keep
know-
it where it's supposed to be in your house.
Yeah, yeah.
If
And
you
people
wanna-
feel like, oh man, like Oliver's so rude. He wouldn't pray with somebody. Okay, the next time somebody wants to like use crystals to heal you or whatever of your sickness or whatever, or want to like put it over your head or whatever, make sure you keep that same fucking energy,
Right.
dogs.
Right. It's
All
just,
right,
Oh,
keep
boy.
that same energy, man.
I have
But-
no problem with people keeping in their own homes. It's just
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any reason to mix it. But it's just for one,
Mm.
if you want to subscribe to an archaic doctrine, that's fine. Just it's also
Next time, motherfucker,
You
want to
keep
use
yourself-
astrology to describe how you're feeling today and why you're such a
Right.
pissy mood. Make sure you keep that same energy.
You know,
All right.
you know, Sydney.
it's messed up that it's socially acceptable to do these things. That's what,
Yeah.
What's your sign? Aquarius or is it
Capricorn?
Capricorn?
Yeah, Capricorn. I'm like a goat man thing.
See, I'm trying to think really quick. Let me do your horoscope really
Yeah, do
quick.
my horoscope.
Loud.
Loud.
Tonight, after you leave this podcast, you're gonna go out. You're gonna go to
right.
downtown Fort Myers. You're gonna
Right.
find 3 bad bitches.
Ooh.
Just like
bad.
each of them are going to be like a different sort of like
different variation of bad bitch.
like the 3 of them are basically gonna be
Oh.
like here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have one that's like a little bit crazy but tons of fun.
Right.
You're gonna get another one that's
crazy
like
pussy's great. Yeah.
that's like a little standoffish and mean but is really sweet on the
Ooh.
inside.
Ooh.
You're gonna meet
Hard
another
to get,
girl
Yeah.
that's like hyper ambitious and like has
Ooh.
all her shit straight in her life.
Ooh.
Those are the 3 girls you're gonna meet, right?
Wow.
And you're going to be able to they're all going to be attracted to you, so you
What's
get the
your sign?
ability.
Wow. Yeah. Capricorn dog.
So for all the Capricorn girls out there, this
yeah,
goes for
yeah.
you too.
It's
and all
for
the
you.
Capricorn
One
men
for you, baby.
who are interested.
John says I'm gonna meet general stereotypes in a very populated area full of women, man. I'm coming for you, bae.
Oh, my
Shout out to
Now,
my
here's the
Capricorns.
thing. The thing is, you need to choose the right one, because if you don't choose the right one,
You're
you're
going to
going to be
hell,
paying for an Uber on your
like-
way home
Oh,
with
no.
blue balls.
So,
Damn, I feel like I'm playing a waifu anime.
you know what's interesting?
on
They actually there was a,
Ground Zero or something, whatever the fuck it is.
there's a guy I really wish I remembered his name. And I hope somebody knows. But he was an English did British TV shows and whatnot. He was
Right.
kind of like similar to like I don't know, the Fear Factor or whatever. Like
Mhm.
weird mind experience for people.
Mhm.
But he had a bunch of people come together, and then he gave them all, which they didn't know this, their own personal horoscope, and they were all different, everything.
right.
And so they were
God.
all reading it, and they all,
Like,
they,
oh,
they,
wow.
in
Hold
the
on,
interviews.
hold on. Was it Dan Brown? Is that his
I
name?
think so, or something like that.
Dan Brown.
It's not. I
think.
don't think it's maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if so. Anyway, so then they have an interview with the people, and they're like, it hit me so well. It was exactly me. Like this is me, and they were
Yeah.
all of them except for one was just so
Yeah.
and they surprised and
Right.
crazy about this, and then they all had to read them to each other, and it's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, no. What was it? They had they had them trace their hand on a piece of
Right.
paper or some shit like
Right,
that. Just like
yeah.
I can tell so much about you
Right.
by this piece of
Oh,
paper.
that's what. Okay, maybe that's
Yeah.
what it was. Yeah.
Damn.
Uh-huh.
But it was basically in lieu of that like
Mhm.
horoscope
But,
thing.
like that's how easy it is to trick people. Like
Yeah.
you could read if you. It's the first thing you read.
Yeah.
That's why I get really annoyed with astrology is the big one that annoys me because
Right.
what I find is that when I read like there were astrology memes that were going around on Facebook for a while,
Right.
and I remember reading them being like these apply to everyone, like literally
Yeah.
everyone.
You
need
see
to be
what you want
general
to see. You see what you want to see.
stereotypes.
If you
Yeah,
want
right,
this,
right.
you get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
Placebo effect.
and the thing is you can't even argue with anyone about it and say
Right.
be like, oh, because the moment that you do, they go, what's your sign? I bet, and then they use something about your sign
Right.
that
Oh, that makes
generally
sense.
applies
You're
to
very
you.
You would be
argumentative.
argumentative. Right.
You're
Yeah,
a
like-
Taurus. You're very argumentative. You don't wanna,
very
like-
stubborn.
Stubborn.
Like, oh my
yeah.
god, that's
Right.
and the thing is, it's something like it applies to everybody.
Right.
I
So,
mean, yeah, I think goes for the same. It's the same thing as religion as well.
now
yeah.
now that being said, I think there's like this tiny fragment of of merit to it, in that the time of year that you're born influences how you grow up.
Yeah.
But that's the extent of where it goes. There's
Yeah.
no alignment of planets.
We're really doing like a
So
fucking.
the Japanese have it right. That's what you're saying.
Dude, we're really doing a Rolodex on all the religions.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, man, you can't be a reincarnated
Astrology
motherfucker.
as much as I dislike religion, astrology is not a religion.
Yeah.
But
It's
Some
like
people
a-
treat it like it.
Yeah,
I don't know,
That's
like-
true.
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, no, I've met a lot of people who look up things in astrology books and also sextrology books. That's a
Sextrology?
gigantic bestseller.
Yeah, I know there's a number
how
base
well
symbol.
you match with your partner
whatever.
based on your
It-
sex.
Is it like next to the Kama Sutra?
Yeah.
No, it's in the same spiritual.
Or no, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
The
the
book of
Kama Sutra is
sex.
in the.
The
Actually, I don't
Indian.
know if it's like
Indian.
if it surpassed that like sex book versus
Yeah.
like actual like Indian
What-
or
what-
not Indian but like
The Kama Sutra is
Asian
just like sex positions
history.
and shit. Like
No,
that's all it is.
What was it?
honestly, I don't know.
Wasn't
I know it's a lot of positions, but I feel like there's more to it.
what was it?
Probably.
Sex and diet. The sex and diet sections were kind of next to each other.
Oh yeah,
Right.
you worked at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah,
You know. yeah.
And it was right across from the self-improvement section, and I was just like, "This is brilliant."
Mhm.
Like I remember when I first saw that, I was like,
And then cookbooks right behind it.
"Yeah." And then cookbooks, because you get the diet and weight
Yeah,
loss, so like
yeah.
cookbooks. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. All right, you want to do a fun question? Let's do a fun question.
All right.
We got your neat, my handy dandy
Let's see.
question.
All right.
Yes. Can we get a new one that we haven't done before? I know we have a lot.
Oh man.
We normally do some of our
Well, one of
Greatest
these is I guess almost kind of answered, because one of these is like how political should artists be, but like we kind of touched on how religious artists should be.
right.
Well, I think that I don't know. Okay, so like as far as like religion and art,
Yeah.
I think it's totally fine. It's just like okay, for example,
Mhm.
when the religion is not an art,
Right.
when is that's always a problem. Or like, do you know about the I don't know what was the painting that Salvador Dali did where he was looking down on Jesus? Do you know about this?
No.
Anyway,
I don't know
it was a
about
very
that,
famous
yeah.
painting that he did. But it was extremely offensive, especially during the time, because it was a view of Jesus on the cross from above, as if we the people were above him.
Above Jesus, right.
It's the problem is when people can't take art for what it is,
Right.
and or when being critical of art is a problem. I mean, do you know who Salman Rushdie is? Do you guys know? He wrote this book called The Satanic Verses. He was a phenomenal. I mean, he's a phenomenal author, extremely talented. And I say that because, like, I don't know. I mean, I love books, and like, I worked at Barnes and Noble, so I know a lot of books. But I also know a lot of books that are milestones. There's a lot of crappy paperbacks, but then there are books that are milestones that are very important for just the future of literature, and especially important books. Within the past century. So Salman Rushdie was a big thing, and the Satanic Verses, when they came out, the book is about Muhammad, but it's about him like as a kid, or not as a kid, but like as a young boy, and like his trials, and it was basically just kind of like making a more modern version of that, really, the Messiah of this religion. The Hamas and the I don't know what that guy's called, but they put a fatwa on him, which means basically it's kind of like a license to kill, if you will.
License to
like
kill.
you are like he's please bring him to a dead. And he had to be protected for a while for all of this, and it was just because he wrote a book about the Muhammad, and we can go back to also all the French magazine and all these things that like. Yeah. But the problem is the problem is religion. When you get down to it, the people can't just that religion is something that is a life or death thing.
Right.
It's not something that is like a book. It's not whether or not you like Edward or you like Jacob or whatever in Twilight. That we're
it's very serious grounds for.
I don't know. I would cut a bitch that said she liked Edward better than Jacob.
Honestly, I like
are
Jacob,
some-
man.
there
I
are
don't
some
like
who
the
might.
skinny, ghastly looking vampire. Like I
Oh,
like
shit.
Jacob has abs. He's a good looking dude. Or whatever. He
Actually,
used to be Shark Boy.
Have you seen Taylor Lautner like recently?
Didn't he get kind of fat?
Yeah, he did. He got big.
Oh
He got
my
big. He got
God.
bulky.
He a thick boy now. Hey, girls, man, you trying to accept us liking fat bitches? I love fat bitches. I've been on that fat bitch wave. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera. I just feel empowered.
I like how you imagine that there's just like 5,000 women just watching your podcast.
Yeah.
Right now, like,
No
oh
woman.
shit, Sydney just.
No.
There's
Yeah,
like
no
there's
women
like
are watching.
three that
Yeah,
are all friends of
three.
ours.
Yeah.
And they're also
women,
probably just offended, you know.
Yeah. If we
Can you
gotta
stop?
accept thick bitches, fat bitches. Except big men. Except Taylor Lautner, man. Don't make fun of him. Don't say he fell off. He fat now. He ugly.
I mean, I will say.
Except his thick body.
What people think of as Hollywood celebrities as
Yeah,
being fat is probably just like somewhere like a little bit out of tone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that
That's
guy got
true.
fat. It's like he just like basically
Like, damn,
10
like,
pounds. You know?
I haven't been in a
Hadn't
movie in a
taken a shit in
minute.
a couple days and now he's fat.
Yeah. Is Taylor Lautner okay? Yo, man, somebody check on Taylor Lautner right now.
No, well, because
I haven't seen it in a movie since Twilight.
What was it? Well, because what I heard about was that like people were the reason this even came up was because there was a video that I saw that was like, it was Zac Efron like actually natural, or was he using steroids to get ready for Baywatch?
Right. He got swole as fuck for Baywatch.
Well, believe it or not, he only gained about 10 pounds of muscle.
Really?
Over the course of a year, which is entirely doable.
Right.
That's very doable, right?
Yeah, that like as a beginner, if you're someone who never worked out or like never touched a barbell, you can expect, or if you do everything optimally, right, you can at most expect 24 pounds of muscle in your first year of working out. That's the whole like newbie gains, like gaining all that weight. It's sort of like that is the cap though. That's like, you know, you're doing everything optimally, your diet's on point. You know, otherwise you're probably more likely to get like 12 pounds of muscle. And then everything after that, you just kind of have to optimize even further. And then every year, you basically can make half as many gains. So like you can gain optimally 24 pounds of muscle the first year. And once you hit that 24 pounds, the next year after that, you can gain maybe 12. And then maybe, or you know, maybe 12 to 15 or something. And then after that, you can maybe gain like 8 to 10 pounds. So, you know, so there's actually like a natural like max muscular potential that you can reach.
Are you talking about this in a completely natural sense, as in without the help of
like
any
no
sort of-
no extracurriculars, no vitamin S.
I work at a car dealership, and I'm sure a lot of people, you know, they're not playing fair, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So now the thing is like and these are the natural boundaries. Usually a guy that like trains for like 11 years or something like that. In like there's a dude on YouTube, Jeff Nippard. He's been training for about that time, 10 years or so, and he on any given day weighs somewhere between 160 and 170, which you hear that and go, that doesn't sound very like, you know, the dude's like 5'6", so he's not like that tall, but that being said, like that doesn't sound like huge. Like usually you hear about guys that are like, you know, 250, 260, like Mr. Olympia competitors are like anywhere in the 250 to 300 range, and their body fat percentage is no more than like 8%. And so, so the thing is like, there's sort of a limit to how much muscle you can get. Now, Zac Efron, for the Baywatch movie, he gained like I said 10 pounds.
Right.
That's not a lot.
Right.
You know, and he was training with The Rock, who did
fucking like just goddamn mountain.
Yeah. So like,
Do you think he was actually training with The Rock, or they just did like a little thing? Like,
I'm sure he was.
I'm sure. What it probably was, you know, there was probably like once a month coaching or once a week coaching type of thing.
Yeah.
It's not like they're probably both on point, like with all of their, you know, like their training. No, I mean if you're an actor, you're taking care of your body.
Yeah, for sure. And Zac Efron, he was already pretty in shape before he even got
exactly.
So it wasn't even like a big effort for him to gain 10 pounds or whatever.
Dude, have you ever seen a scene from High School Musical like now?
I've never actually watched High School Musical. I think we already had a segment on High School Musical.
No, I never watched it either.
I've
but
never watched
I'd
it,
like seen it like, you know, when I was like a kid. Like I haven't like not like I'd watched it through, but I'd like seen like, you know, if it's on Disney Channel, you know, I saw 5 minutes of it, and I remember cringing then, and then like changing the channel. But I watch it now, and I'm like, how did anybody watch 2 hours of this?
Is that bad?
It's that bad. Like,
golly.
It's like and I will say this, I'm pretty sensitive to cringe.
I mean, Vanessa Hudgens, she's bae. For sure.
No, for sure. But I don't think, you know, we're talking, you know, I don't know. There's obviously a lot more audience than Sydney.
You know, as much as I like music or whatever, don't care about musicals.
Yeah, no, me neither. I have a
Don't really actively watch musicals. The only
I don't like them at
the
all.
recent one I watched was La La Land. I like La La Land.
Yeah, I heard bad things.
Yeah, bad things about
It was
La La
supposed to be. Yeah, no, I did hear bad things.
Land?
Like I heard. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I personally don't like musicals, so.
Right, yeah.
And honestly, I think it is just the singing. Like, you know, you're watching a real movie, and then it's just like, oh wait, who started singing? Why? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they can be fun and entertaining, but like I like an actual like I feel like the singing gets in the way. Like okay, I want to hear the story and the plot.
You know what was good?
and
The producers. Did you ever see the producers?
The producers now.
Oh, okay. It was okay. Well, it's actually an old famous play.
Right.
But they redid it with. Shoot, I feel like terrible. I should really know. Anyway, but it was basically about these guys who wanted to. They were basically betting against themselves. They were gonna make the worst play possible.
Right.
And it's a phenomenal movie. You guys gotta watch it.
Right.
So they decided to make a movie called Springtime for Hitler, and it's about like this super. And this is a real. I mean, I'm talking like this came out like a long time ago.
Springtime for Hitler. Holy shit! All right.
And they remade the movie, and so yeah, but because they made it so bad it was good. So they wound up not.
It's like The Room type of shit.
You know what? I don't know.
Tommy
I mean, in the fact
right.
that it was so bad it was good, but
Yeah.
yes, but that was like the premise of the
The premise of the movie to make
thing.
it bad,
was like,
right?
But they bet against themselves, so they
Right.
put all this money into expecting it to flop,
Right.
and it didn't. So they're freaking out, and now Springtime for Hitler needs to do all these extra shows because everybody wants to see it. And like that was a phenomenal musical. I did see that, and yeah.
God damn, we need to see this shit.
Yeah, you didn't. It's very good.
More musicals are more edgy. Instead, we went from High School Musical to Springtime for Hitler.
Right.
That's
I'm
just
trying to
magic
think.
of John's Closet.
The only other musical I know is pretty edgy is shoot. Oh man, never mind.
The Book of Mormon.
No, that one's a good one. But then there's that other one.
Yeah, Book of Mormon
You
here
know
is
what I'm
really
talking
good.
I just know a couple of songs from the Book of Mormon.
I've never seen it, but I know it's very good.
So
Yeah.
that's what happens when you put the South Park writers on Broadway.
Yeah, it's supposed to be very.
Yeah,
I
they
really
won
wanna
like
see
mad
it.
awards and shit for it too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They won like damn near every award for
Mm.
it. That was the Book of Mormon.
Damn, I can't remember. Anyway,
Yeah. Well,
There's one other.
anyways, so
do you have
so
any other poetry questions? or-
yeah. So you wanna actually read out
Oh,
some
sure.
poems?
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
All right. 1 second.
Go
We're
for
making
it.
some good time. Yeah.
We're doing
The
it right?
one, okay.
All right,
Yeah,
1
go ahead.
second.
Yeah, read out some poems
Okay.
for us.
All right.
Whatever ones you feel like sharing. Cause you actually have a nice voice for when I was reading when you were reading the first poem out loud. I was
Right.
like, wow.
Yeah,
it's
I was
nice.
like,
I was kind of into
Well,
it.
thank you guys. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I'm trying to think. I want to find something that is quite good. All right. So for first, this one's called Molten Songs. Definitely more about, just not being able to. I guess it's. You know what? I'll let you guys. You guys tell me what you think it's about. How about that? All right.
oh boy.
Love, it was once buried here. With a woodpecker stare, city miners will dig, and dig and dig and dig, all in separate holes. Long forgotten canaries lie stiff, 40 miles above our heads, and songs in different languages will slither up and out of the earth, humming about the fault in human hands, that the skin is too soft for this mess. Finger bones are much whiter than we could have ever imagined. Like fantastic lovers, sliding hands down hotel hallways, up to the roof to hear our passions bellow, and bounce off adjacent brick walls, or dirt walls, up and out of this fucking pit. Love, red and thick, it leaks like an old ship. Seeping by our feet, we melt quietly, assured in silent horror. We each dream, we each knew. Love, it was buried here somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm not expecting you guys to have any. If you have any things that come right to mind, then please do tell me. If not, then please, I can at least explain.
I was just gonna point out the imagery, which was like I really like the imagery. How it kind of like it really did sort of like create an image in my head.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'd need to look at it like get a physical like looking at the text to like
sure.
analyze and everything.
Yeah. Read some more.
Okay. All right. Well, anyways, yeah, that one's just like basically these people. All these people are just like digging and like they're using their hands. And I don't know if you know what like I also like using really weird like sort of references like canaries. Canary in the coal mine. The canaries would die.
Right.
And if a canary died, then it's time to get out because they're the most susceptible to poisonous gases when when people would mine back in the day.
Right.
So canaries lying stiff 40 miles over your head means you've been digging and you knew it was wrong. Like you
Right.
need to stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you knew that you're in the wrong place or whatever. And so they're using their hands and they see their bones and they're like, oh my god, I didn't even know what bones looked like. Holy shit! And then and then they get so deep that they get to this like magma and like they just start melting in like the lava. And basically all they were looking for was love. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right.
that's the point of
right.
the poem.
How long does it take you to write a poem that long?
It's weird. Some of them like it's like I can write. Like some there are there's like moments of like clarity where you're like
clarity,
I
just
know
like,
it just like boo.
Damn.
Yeah, and then there's also those times where it's like you refine it over like months. I mean, you like that one probably in particular, probably went through 40 different revisions of just like changing this, changing that to like make it so that you. And that's I told you.
It does feel
earlier.
very refined and very So
right, and that's what I mostly have on here is just things that
Right.
I'm really really happy with,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I said, it's all about condensing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just trying to condense an idea as small as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, this is probably my favorite one I've ever written. It's called State of the Art.
Oh, I also like that one too.
Okay.
I also really.
Um,
Is the I/O is that input/output?
no, it's
What
like
does that
on
mean?
or off.
On or off? Okay.
On and off, or like the I/O, like like you turn the computer on and turn it off.
Okay.
Or like 1 and zeros. Like when I believe 0 is off and a 1 is on.
Okay.
Right,
Gotcha.
in binary code. So that's
Mhm.
kind of the state of the art or I/O. And that's what actually your computer means. You ever see the I and the O when you hit power?
Okay.
That's what that means.
Yep.
It just means whether or not your computer is a 0 or it's a 1. Anyway.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So state of the art. I imagined filling your head with a masterpiece of fumes. How delicate a concoction it would need to be to meet such specifications. A one-of-a-kind rocket engine designed and built purely by nature. The manual was found written in a dead language, and it was about as thick with instructions as the space between us. I used it as a step stool, and I traced a blueprint of your body across my walls and ceilings. Each button required a key, and I cut them all by hand. For days the floor was covered in brass dust. I trained every cell in my body for this. I could visualize each connection and switch as if it were my own creation. I dreamt of each trigger clicking and each chemical mixture lighting up as they each met their respective accelerant. These controlled explosions that would brighten your eyes like 2 brown suns. I brought with me levels and rulers, a calculator and magic, building a machine within the machine to make it move. An effort commissioned by the greatest minds and names whose pocketbooks were ever greater. I spent their grants bone dry. 100 books were written trying to scratch the surface with explanations. The event was televised through thousands of laboratories all across this green earth. The air was right, and on that day, as I went to press start, a symphony of zeros turning into ones took place. An entire web of lights all flipped on and shone, gleaming one by one like a switchboard controlling itself. I placed my hand on your face and it happened. Engineers stood gawking and marveled at its fragile singularity, at how it hovered there, and how we've been hovering here ever since.
Yes. See, I like that. I like that poem. I actually had I had a couple of questions or input on it. I liked how you used the comparison of a rocket ship or just engineering it or whatever. It kind of reminded me of like how you're supposed to like build a relationship with somebody, right? Where like it's very complicated, it's very nuanced, spend a lot of time together or whatever. When it works out successfully, like a rocket ship, it should fly off and past the atmosphere and then into space where you can just float on together forever when you do it right, and people can like marvel at it.
Sure.
People do it all the time where they have like relationship goals, whatever. They want to engineer the same type of rocket ship or whatever. But
yeah,
I almost felt like it's like a what do you call it? It's like it's almost like a unattainable dream. Like it's like so hard. It's like you see it's out there, but like how many people can actually make this quote unquote rocket ship in order to make it that far?
Right.
Because it seems like so complicated the way you were like describing each of the parts.
Quick question: how much? I guess I'm gonna say research went into it, because it seemed like it sounded like that you were kind of pulling from, as far as like the references for the metaphor and everything, just the pulling from like I guess more accurate
Mm-hmm.
depictions of like the kind of the process.
Actually, honestly, nothing.
Really?
No. I just use like I mean, the only thing that made me have to stop and think in regards to anything other than like outside of the poem was, is it 0 that means off or is it 1?
Oh wow,
So,
that's a little bit.
that was the only thing where I was like, shit. And I figured it out because obviously a 0 is the first thing, and then a 1 comes after a 0, so it makes sense that 0 would be off and 1 would be on. So yeah, no, that was all just me. Like, I don't know. That was just out of my brain. Yeah. I mean, obviously that went through a lot of revisions as well. And but it was just and you actually hit it pretty well. It was not necessarily relationship goals, but it was more of designing like trying to make a situation as great as possible for something to happen
Right
in a relationship.
I only say relationship goals is like people see like it's like relationship goals is like you see the NASA rocket ship. Yeah. Right. That would be like the relationship goal. People see this like perfect image of a rocket ship.
By the way,
what you think it is okay. You know what I mean? So like, but whatever it was to mean, and it's good that it means something else to you. I want. That's what I want.
But by the way, because we can, NASA, if you're listening right now.
NASA is massa.
Please sponsor us and Oliver.
Yeah.
Please send us money.
Please
I'll
send
definitely
us
write
money.
poems for you. I know those are so useful.
I really like to.
No, you know what? They probably have several writers. For at the very least, sort of the inspirational sort of like space exploration type of thing.
Right.
Like maybe
people have to write copy for like their website, or like they're about to move on. But I mean, that would be true if it weren't for the fact that NASA's like the most I've ever heard of NASA in the past since Donald Trump or since Obama killed it was that we're gonna have a space force.
Space Force, man.
Space Force.
You know
I've been so excited for that Space Force.
That poem reminds me of a line by Andre 3000 on the International Players
I'm a big
album.
Outkast fan, so
where the Outkast and UGK, and then it was like a line. It's like he said like spaceships don't come equipped with rear view mirrors. They dip as far as they can, something like that. Basically, the rear view mirrors. I'm like, wow, like I like that. I'm like, man, that's kind of cool. Spaceships don't come equipped. You don't look back. Yeah. Basically, but it was like a cool way to say that you don't look back. Right. That spaceships don't come equipped with rear view mirrors.
That's very clever.
So I was like, damn.
I do like when I hear like rappers do something very clever.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne hasn't been rapping in a while, but he was always like some of the things he used to say was just like, what the fuck? Like, you're fucked up. How do you think of this right now?
It's that lean.
I know. It's all
weed, drugs. It's pretty simple, Oliver.
Right.
Yeah, oh my gosh. All right. Do we have time for one more fun question?
All right.
We've been here. Solid hour 30.
Yeah,
we're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's do a fun question, and then we can.
Let's. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Ooh. Oh boy,
right.
Oh boy.
Let's say that you had 30 of the most intelligent people in the world, all at your disposal.
Yes.
Like all of them will do, and like there's one task you want them to do, one task you want them to work on.
Okay.
What is it that you're gonna ask them to work on?
I'd make them find the 3 Easter eggs in Ready Player One. That's what I would do.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen that movie, I'm sorry. You didn't get the joke.
Yeah. Spoilers!
I.O. Oh, hey, that was another reference to the I.O., right? Have you guys seen the movie?
Ready Player One?
Yeah.
No, I never,
you haven't
I never
seen
saw
it?
it. No.
Have you seen it?
I just laughed because I figured there was some context to laugh at.
No.
Was it a good movie?
Good.
I heard it.
It was actually very, very entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even play a lot of video games, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So me and Hunter actually watched it one night. Anyway, sorry. Okay, 30 and what would we have them do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have an idea, Chris?
I never actually thought about what I would actually fix. I think I said it. I think I answered this before, and I'm trying to think about the same thing I said.
Well, when Chris came on, he basically what he said something along the lines of like, if there was some sort of entity where people could communicate and get along.
Oh, that's what it was.
And then we were like the internet,
like a phone.
No, but then it was like that's what the internet was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be. Yeah.
But now everyone just shits on each other.
Yeah, and now everybody, the internet, it just reinforces your same bubble that you live in.
I wonder what the average time it takes in a YouTube comments to go from like what is actually about the video to like political or fucked up shit. Like, you know what I
That's
mean?
an
Like,
interesting
I mean,
ratio.
like, how many
Wow.
comments does it take before like somebody's like, "Fuck Obama"? He's you know, blah, blah.
I don't know.
There's gotta be. It's gotta be. I'm gonna guess 5.
It'd be a way.
Like, that's-
There'd be a way to do it because you just look for keywords or whatever,
Yeah.
and then once it's outside of these keywords, okay, and if it's outside of these hashtags or whatever,
No, I
about the
got
video,
it.
then it's,
Like, have you heard of internet comment etiquette?
I mean, I would. Yes, I understand that there's.
yeah.
Oh, no,
but
no,
is
no.
it like a? I
No,
assume you're
there-
talking about a specific thing. No.
Yeah,
what is it?
Internet comment etiquette. It's one guy, and what he does is he's like, "All right, guys, it's time to learn how to write proper comments on your YouTube videos." And
It's not fuck Donald. Yeah. Oh, okay. That sounds great.
it is the most. It's not even that. What he does is he types the most fucked up comments. Like, it's a paragraph of just fucked up shit. Like, Big Money Salvia here, just ready to. I was just in the middle of fingering my dog while watching this video. And like, like
what?
bullshit like that.
What?
That's exactly the type of shit that he says.
I think I need to see an example of it. Links are in the description below, guys.
Links in the description below, guys. God damn, man.
So you know.
So all right. So what would you do?
Oh God. Well, I like CGB Gray got this question.
Uh-huh.
So, but
Wait.
I like his answer.
CGB Greg.
Gray.
Okay.
His answer was immortality. Because then, as you live forever, then you have infinite time to figure it out.
Okay.
To figure
don't
anything else
I don't
out.
know if
I
I want to
guess.
live forever, honestly.
You want
know?
to be immortal?
I think I would live longer than I'm probably going to.
Right.
Definitely. But I don't think I'd want to be immortal. No.
Hmm.
And also, what type of immortality are we talking about?
Like if somebody like slices off your head, like you're dead, but like you don't die of natural causes.
Okay, because that's the other thing. Like, if you're actually,
Yeah.
you know, like, goddamn, like that would be terrible. Could you
Yeah.
imagine if like you just couldn't die? Period.
Yeah. Like period. Like somebody slices your head.
Yeah, and then you know they could
take.
take all pieces of your body, put them in
Yeah.
5 different places in the world, and you're still
Yeah.
just sitting in some hole, just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, it might as well start.
No, that's why
humming.
you got to be like hardcore badass immortal, where like literally those pieces just force their ways back to get together somehow, some way.
Sure.
You know.
Could you be
Right.
immortal but still age? Like you continuously age and you just don't die. Because your cells are still you're
I think
dividing.
That's the
and,
problem.
yeah,
You know,
like
the
you'll be
problem
like
is that
super
our
super
cells-
old and wrinkly, but you just can't die until you're like a fucking
Can you explain this? Actually?
raisin.
Is it correct that
Okay.
the reason why we age
Right.
is because there's only a specific amount of like messenger RNAs or whatever that tell your cells to divide or to keep moving.
Basically,
correct?
it's only a certain number of times that your cells can divide, and it does have a limit. And
Right.
then which is what they call natural.
What is this defined by? Is this defined by the amount of a certain something in our body, or is this like just it? Like, or is it determined in some
like
regard?
well,
what is it like? Our chromosomes.
yeah,
sort of-
basically our
yeah.
DNA gets just shorter and shorter and shorter every time it divides, and your DNA divides every time your cell divides.
And so that is are you telling me that's the one thing that?
when you die of,
ages
well,
you?
not the one thing, because people die of multiple things.
Well,
like
no, but the
diseases.
thing that,
But yeah,
actually
but when you
ages
die-
your body.
Yeah, the thing that ages your body and makes you get weaker or whatever is that your cells divide, and your cells can only divide
That
a
is
certain
so
amount of times,
remarkable.
and your DNA gets shorter every time
Gotcha.
it divides.
Well, anyway, I mean, I think that yes, if I could choose to die at some point, immortality is great. I mean, something more practical, more likely. Man, that's actually really tough. Like, I guess it's probably just like fix like income inequality. Like, you know, I mean,
That's a
Jesus
good one.
Christ,
Yeah.
like, you know, could we just do that at least, or
yeah,
just you know, empower some women in places where they aren't, so that I mean,
the
I think
top
overall-
1% of the 1%.
Overall, like,
I'm
you
not
know, we
Bernie.
would be. Oh yeah, good,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
Bernie,
that
good
top.
Bernie impression.
Yeah,
My
Terrible
grandpa calls
Bernie
me Bernie
impression.
because he thinks I'm a
yeah,
fucking socialist.
socialist.
piece
Yeah.
of shit. But yeah, I mean, like overall, like, okay, so the question is, what would we want? Because obviously, what would we
Yeah.
want is just be like, how can I do a shitload of drugs and never have
Never
any
die,
problems?
man.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Can I
you know,
just do
I mean,
drugs and
personally, like-
chill out?
right? Like somehow, or, you know what? A time turner. If somebody could create a time turner, that would be awesome. I don't know if you guys know what Harry.
Oh
watched Harry
yeah,
Potter.
yeah.
The thing where you can just like you can live through a certain day and then just flip it and then like, you know, do something else during the day.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Right.
That'd be dope. Yeah.
I think that would be great. But as far as like practically what would be best for the the world, yep.
Income inequality.
Income inequality, empower women.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think if probably the biggest thing that actually I think it strands people or third world countries or whatever from
Uh-huh.
getting better is just
Hmm.
the fact that half of their workforce is at home wearing a fucking shawl, and
Yeah.
not able to speak their mind. So
Yeah.
or work.
It's a good answer. It was a solid answer.
So there's a selfish answer, then there's like a best for all answer.
Yeah.
See, my selfish answer is I want them to just all give me enough money to match and rival Elon Musk.
Match and rival him like in like that one movie where like the nerds fight or whatever. Or when you say rival, what do you mean?
I mean just like basically
Scott Pilgrim is what I was talking about.
Like what I've wanted to see Scott Pilgrim and I still haven't seen it.
Jeez, you guys need to get caught up on your references, man.
Yeah,
I know.
we
I'm
trash.
really
It's a music podcast, not a movie podcast. But anyway,
movie podcast was the first idea we
we gotta listen to that old episode. By the way, guys, there's secret 2 episodes of John's Closet that we recorded about a year ago. The lost episodes, which we'll probably never release. But if you ever come by John's Closet, if you want to listen to it, just for the shits and giggles or whatever, we'll be more than happy to let you listen to it. But anyways, this has been episode motherfucking 12. Is it episode 12?
Yeah, this is episode 12.
Episode 12 with our boy Oliver.
Word.
Yeah, so you got any plugins for anybody? Like your Instagrams or whatever?
Nope. I mean, I have a Tumblr.
Tumblr, yeah.
It's Iron-Eyed Poetry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Tumblr name. I don't know if it's like ironeyedpoetry.tumblr/blog. I don't know how they do it, but Iron-Eyed Poetry is where you can read all of my poetry. But other than that, I don't really have any enterprises that require backing right now. I will say this: Hunter Dolan, who was on previously, please
episode 3.
Give Suwannee Swing Saloon a shout, and a listen.
Mm-hmm.
He is extremely, extremely talented, and there's I see only good things coming out of
Hunter's
anything that he's working on.
Yeah.
And
he started posting regularly on YouTube too, right?
He's been doing that. He's been like streaming. I think there's a lot of things that are in the works, and the fact is that he's extremely talented, and as long as he's working hard, I think it's gonna be it's gonna work out.
I think that's what people get confused. They don't have the talent first, but then they just constantly post things, and it's just all
right.
Like I want people who have the talent first, then you can. Get the talent first.
He will. I mean, if he works hard enough, he will earn it. And he has that capability. So.
Yeah, shout out to Hunter. He was on our 3rd episode, I think.
Oh, also, I sell cars. I work at Sutherland Nissan right now. Currently, that's what I'm doing. So if you guys need a car, give me a call.
Plug in that car! Oh shit!
You need a whip? I'll hit you up.
You know what? My
he can
Durango,
like you and sell you some shit.
My Durango has like 180,000 miles on it.
God damn.
I've got a Rogue.
The big bitch. But anyways, follow us at John's Closet, John_Closet on Instagram, YouTube, John's Closet, Facebook, John's Closet.
Yep.
If you want to follow me on Instagram, Loquin Lord on its Insta.
I'm just John CW Music.
Yeah. This has been John's Closet episode motherfucking 12 for Oliver. See you guys next time, fam. Peace out.
Peace.